What's up, everybody? It's Brandon from Box Office Banner and Cult Flick Symposium, and I'm here to talk about some more Yellowjackets. Damn, back at it again. Finally through the Fast and the Furious videos, and now this can pretty much be my primary area of concern. For the people that tune into Yellowjackets, y'all probably have better taste than the Fast and the Furious saga, but maybe you're like me and, get into a little bit of everything. It's all fun, right? This episode, though, pretty fucking crazy, guys. Episode 8 got a little wild, just a little bit. Let's dive into it. All right. As far as the youngins go, the youngin versions of themselves, if that makes sense, 90s crew, cabin, wilderness crew, they're fucking, they're coming off the aftermath of Shauna absolutely pummeling Lottie, and Lottie is upstairs, seemingly, they're talking about her kidneys maybe failing. She might just be fucking dying. Shit is getting real, people, and they don't know what to do about it. They're even talking about sacrificing people. Guess what, guys? Figured out what the Queen of Hearts was. Finally got that little tidbit. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, though. But essentially, everybody's kind of in the aftermath of that right now. Which is, it's fun, but it's also kind of like, fuck, dude. Like, are people going to start backstabbing people? Are people just going to, some people are saying maybe it'd just be good if Lottie just passed away because she's evidently had some type of effect on them. But then you also got the people that just like, no, Lottie needs to live. It's really getting interesting with what's going to happen there. And then, of course, you got the adult crew who's just, they're all coming off of Jeff calling Shauna and telling her that, that guy, the little fender bender, apparently, Adam's his name, he passed away. Yeah, they found his remains. Crazy, right? And Shauna comes in and drops the bomb on everybody. Only a couple of the everybody's did not quite understand what was going on. They're just like, oh, their friend Adam died, but no, there's something more to this. They've been through a lot of shit. They can sniff that shit out like it's nothing. And Van is having none of it. Van goes over to Shauna and says, I'll be damned if you're getting in that van, if that's even what Shauna's driving at this point. I don't remember. Fun play on words, people. And Van decides to chuck her keys, which, it's kind of like, bro, do you even really want to get in the middle of this? Like, your life could be over, but it's also like this group of people has been through hell and back together, and them taking something to the extreme as, again, they can sense it. Maybe they don't know exactly what it is, but they can kind of sense it's probably that or something damn near murder. They want to be in the thick of it because they done been through everything together. They have to. They're the Yellowjackets. Yeah, I got the yellow shirt on for this today. But Van's having none of it. And they're like, Van, did you just throw my fucking keys? Like, yeah, I did. And, they're being a little too loud. Lottie's like, let's go up to the fucking loft. Everybody's listening and shit, which is crazy. Little quick cutaway. We see Walter again, and Walter is, being Walter. Just weird, and you're, just, again, skeptical of him. You don't really know what he's doing. He's hearing about Adam's death, on the TV, and he's like, I got information. Immediately looks like he's gonna contact the authorities, but is he contacting the authorities to throw them off the case? Or is he contacting the authorities to fuck over Misty? Don't know. No idea. He's a hard one to pin down for sure. Again, from the beginning, I've said I want him to be on the good side in the end. With Misty, they're just like this perfect, weird little couple, but at the same time, what makes them perfect is Misty is kind of a curveball. I don't really know what she's going to do. Why wouldn't Walter be that too? I feel like I slept on that element of him for some weird reason earlier in the season. Would not be surprised at this point if he doesn't go the other way with everything. And more truths are coming out, They're revealing so many things about each other. For instance, one thing, Shauna has got to come clean about Jeff. They're kind of adding all this shit together. Randy, I believe his name is, Jeff's best friend. If I fucked that up, my apologies. Misty's over there just like, yeah, me and the Walter guy. Like, oh, who's Walter? Blah, blah, blah. commenting on that, and Misty's admitting like, actually we were the cops that were on the trail, and they're all just like, what the fuck, revealing that. And then that leads to another reveal where they're just like, come to think of it, why was he acting so skittish and weird, like. And next thing you know, everybody's putting two and two together and like, wait a minute, like. And Nat, I believe it's Natalie, just comes flat out, just like, was Jeff the fucking blackmailer, Shauna? Because even before then, I'm skipping over shit here, just the reveal that she had told Jeff did not sit well with the rest of the Yellowjackets crew. So everybody's finding out shit. And then it leads to the blackmail thing that was off of the whole Randy thing and Walter thing about them actually being the cops on the trail, that, the cops. And then you got the blackmail thing, and that she just admitted, like, yeah, Jeff was the blackmailer. Holy shit. Nothing we don't know. We know all this shit. And then the shit with Jessica, too. That fucking happened with Misty. It's just all this shit we knew, but it was like a whole bunch of like just ping ponging around everybody. We were just watching everybody organically find out everything over the course of this episode, and a lot of it was like boom, 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 boom. Was pretty exciting and pretty cool. I dug it. And watching them, go forward with this information and what they should do, because this got downright kind of sinister. I mean, Lottie, by the end of this episode, was just like, maybe we need to give back. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? And they basically presented something, I don't know the technical name of it, that's something she put in drink. She put in, basically, blah, 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 tripping over my own words here. Everybody's got their shots. They're all getting drunk. They're having a good fucking time. They're about to break up the party. But what they're about to break it up with here is pretty fucking intense, because Lottie is basically saying, let's just basically do Russian roulette with drinks. Like, one of us needs to go. One of us needs to die. And they're all like, what are you talking about? And Lottie basically lays it out there, even though they don't buy it at first, that like, we're all fucked up in some way from this place, so we need to give back in some way. We've got to do that. And we don't see it in this episode, but it seems to be really pressing in that direction. Like, everybody almost had to look like, good fucking point, Lottie. Like, I don't like it that you have a good point, but you have a good fucking point. And it really feels like they might go through with this. And Van would obviously be the most likely candidate to die, since she already has cancer, but they might flip that on its head. But who knows what they'll do with it. But like, if one of them's got to go, I mean, one of them's got to go. Like, it does almost have a feel of that. Lottie even laid out, I can't remember exactly what she said, because I watched this episode like 3 days ago, but she even laid out each little detail. Everybody, like Misty, you've literally killed somebody. Like, you tried to kill yourself, Nat. Like, you're ready to end your life. Shauna, you're going to lose your family. Like, she was just laying out everybody. Thaisa, fucking killing her dog, losing her mind. Like, everybody has got something going on. And obviously, speaking of losing minds, Lottie is well aware that she's losing her mind. I mean, we just found out last episode that she's not even talking to the therapist that we thought she was talking to. Something has got to give, literally and figuratively. And we're feeling that here. And that really sets something up for the next episode, because getting pretty intense with that. Definitely will make you wonder. As far as the kids go, I'm over here just blanking on the spot for the most part. I guess the main thing that stood out to me mainly was just, I mean, more of Coach Ben's backstory, which is just like, I guess they're just building to something, but it just still, it's just little clips. Like, why are they focusing so much on him unless he was going to be offed, but they continue to act like he's going to be offed, and then he's not. So we're just getting a lot of backstory, and it's kind of like, what for almost? I mean, not that it's like bad, but it's kind of like, why are we focusing solely on him? Usually that means, oh, he's going to die, but he keeps not dying. So, I mean, I don't know exactly what's going to come of that. Coach, he found a little underground cavern type of place where it looks like you could hold up. Like, what is that going to be? Is that where Javi held up, where he lived? And we'll get to Javi in a second, because it's just like this little, looks like a nice little living place. Like, what is it, though? There's got to be something to that. It can't just be, oh, look at this cave I found. Something's going to happen with that, right? You'd think. And then let's just fucking talk about it. Let's talk about the whole sacrifice thing. That didn't really seem like a sacrifice, and then in the blink of an eye while they're drawing cards, oh man, Queen of Hearts for Nat, young Nat, which of course, like, if we didn't have, obviously the foresight to know that Natalie's alive in the future. This was like, would have been a little bit more boom, 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 boom. It already was like boom, 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 knowing because she's such a beloved character. But knowing she's alive in the future, you're like, oh, we're good. But this shit still was pretty intense. Just imagine how intense it would have been if we did not know that Nat was alive because, oh shit, like they legit look like they're about to kill her. Like they don't give a fuck in this moment. Like they turn around, Shauna's a little hesitant. Nat, of course, being a G, just like, you need to look me in my fucking eyes, and you're just waiting. And then Travis finally is like, boom, breaks it up. Good point for Travis, real quick, before we go to this next part. You'll see why. Travis finally sat down with Nat right before all this happened and was just like, hey, you're a good person, and I'm sorry for ever making you feel like you weren't. All right, that's all I needed to say. You'll see why in a second, or you know why if you're watching this review probably. And you have Nat just running through the wilderness, and there's not much just like, should we even do this? They're running like mad men, mad women, what? Mad women, I guess. Mad men, mad women. Yeah, works either way, I guess, but you know what I'm trying to say. Just they are women primarily, so I guess it would be they're running like mad women. And they're taking off and hauling ass, and Nat didn't have anywhere to go. And poor Javi, man. Javi just, Mr. Heart of Gold, just, hey, look, I know a place you can go, henceforth probably, where he was when he was out there in the middle of the wilderness and everybody thought he was dead. You can trust me. And trust him or not, what choice do you have at this point if you're Nat? Because everybody else is clearly fucking turned on you. So, I mean, what else are you going to do? You're going to roll with them. Maybe that's the little underground cavern that fucking Coach found, and there's some type of spiritual fucking shit going on down there that has to do with the seance. Who the hell knows? Maybe that's where Javi stayed. Who knows where they're leading them because they did not get to the destination. They're running across the ice. Javi stops for a second. Ice starts to crack, falls in. I'm immediately thinking, okay, Nat's going to pull him out real quick. He's going to save him, but why are we taking this little detour if it's just going to be a quick thing? And by the time I had that thought, I'm like, she's not really getting him out. Like, she's trying, and then everybody else is running behind him, and Misty, I believe is who it is, comes over and just like, leave him. And she's like, what do you mean? It's like, leave him, or it's got to be you. And it's at that moment Nat kind of sits back. There's definitely, I can see some hesitancy on her face, but there's also just a scared look. Like, I don't feel like this is going to be a thing where Nat just moves on from it, like, it's him or me. I think it's going to be something that is going to eat at her as a character. Like, she's going to bring it up, and she's going to know, even worse, just like, I could have done something. And Travis, whereas before I didn't have as much guilt because at the end of the day I was just trying to protect Travis by making it seem like Javi was gone, and it seemed like the right thing to do at the time. Now, after I've been told and everything had been rectified and everything was perfectly Lottie freaking da again, that Travis admitted I'm a good person. I know I'm a good person. Now she's going to have to face Travis and know for a fact that she isn't a good person, or at least doesn't feel like one, because she just watched Javi die, basically. She, tried to do something, but Misty, again, that's who I believe it was. It's been a few days since I watched this episode. She didn't really fight. She just laid back in like despair, like, oh my God, it's right, it's him or me. And then, like, you're being guided into it. It's not full on your decision, but there's definitely going to be an element of I could have done more here, which is crazy. And all the fucking like Javi's Adam theories there were, I think those are dead, again, literally and figuratively. So that's interesting, very much so. Speaking of dead, Akila's little rat, we found out that thing was dead. Seeing things. What's her name? Goddamn. Seeing blood come out of the walls. Everybody's losing their mind at the cabin pretty good right now. And their leader is in disarray. The girl that almost feels like dethroned her leader, even though the leader is the one that led her to do that, if that makes sense, is still losing her mind, and people don't know what to think about it. Now they're about to literally sacrifice someone, and if Javi didn't die, it looked like that was definitely in the cards, unless they all got cold feet in their like herd type of mentality. There's a lot of shit going on right now that is pointing towards just more than ever, like, not just this person's dead. Like, Jackie was a stepping stone, as I said. She died. They didn't hesitate, but, she was already dead. We're now hitting the point where if we need food, like, we're going to kill. And that is definitely, with this episode, taking it to new levels. Undoubtedly. So this is unquestionably, undoubtedly getting crazier. How often are they going to be willing to make a sacrifice? Are they going to be willing to, okay, we've killed now, even though they didn't? They were so ready to kill and they allowed Javi to die. People are getting closer to the edge and they are ready to jump off if it means them or me. Like they're hitting that wall. We're progressing deeper and deeper into that direction, and it's definitely interesting. Like it, love it. Should be an explosive, probably not explosive. This is an action movie, but you know what I mean. Explosive. Final 2 episodes. I think the last 2 episodes are gonna be fucking dope. Don't let us down. Really hope so. Maybe tie up a few things. We definitely got some pieces in this one. Also, Jeff, though, I want to say real quick before I go, that whole thing. We get to see him mention to Callie how, he lost the baby with Shauna, which was interesting to just see him do it for the first time. And then the dream he had with Shauna. I mean, you could tell, the cheating thing earlier in the season where he had to deal with the effects of that. Now this is another layer because he's obviously having a hard time. When the two cops came over and they showed him everything and they were like almost like a cheese grater, took the tattoo off. They're like mentioning all this stuff and he's like, this is hard to look at, guys. Like you could tell it was affecting him. Like, seeing is believing type of thing. So witnessing all this shit firsthand in pictures and then going to bed and then dreaming about Shauna with like the electric, I guess what you call them, like electric knives on her like little nubs and she's like cutting into him and she's like, come on, Jeff. And he's waking up from a nightmare. He is having some serious, serious problems. Gotta feel for Jeff, dude. One of my favorite characters for sure. And it's tough to see him like this, bro. Tough to see him like this. Anyways, though, I think that about covers it. I'm sure I forgot at least a couple things. I hate when I do this a couple days after I watch the episode. I also usually watch the episodes twice. I only watched this one once, so I got a lot going against me. But on the fly, hope it did good enough for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the review. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I know this has been wishy-washy. It seems like this season with a lot of people, but for the people that have stuck with it, I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am because I'm still more than on board. And I think this episode was pretty damn great. And I'm really curious what they're going to do with the last two. Hopefully it stays dialed up with like just crazy moments that just really hit. Like, something, we don't like to see it. Poor Javi dying, but it's advancing the story into darker and crazy places. And I can't hate on that, right? That's what we're here for in our own little sick, morbid ways, heads, whatever you want to call it. Love you guys, though. Let me know any comments, likes, shares, subscribes you might have. That's a weird way of putting it. Really just comment. I like talking to y'all. Love you guys. Peace.